Hey everybody, welcome back to the Court of Random Opinion. My name is Lauren Neidigh. I'm here with my friend Bruce from Oregon, who delivers, but not HCG.
Not tonight, anyway.
Well, I'll put in something for maybe tomorrow. Do you do overnight rush shipping?
I do overnights, but
Oof.
maybe not for you.
Oh.
Ayo.
Ah. I'm appalled.
Well,
I can't believe that you just said that. Our relationship is over, dude.
Oh boy.
All right, sorry.
It was good while it lasted.
Trying. Yeah, all 5 seconds of it. 1 sec. We got Justice for Clayton in the chat. How's it going, man?
That's right.
All right, so we have some stuff that's come out today, and I was going to try to go over it earlier, but I couldn't because I had to spend time with my mother, who actually gave birth to me and my 2 very real siblings for Mother's Day. So that's why, we're so late tonight. But people are asking if this source has been vetted. So Megan Fox, the writer, not the movie star / model, because I prefer our friend Megan Fox, the writer. She says that this source is legit, and that is frankly good enough for me to come out and just be like, here's what allegedly happened. We're going to put a big fat allegedly here. I cannot confirm this on my own, but I think there's enough credibility to it for me to question oh, is this actually what happened? Because it certainly checks out in a sense of oh, that's how she did that. Bruce, what was your initial thought?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, sometimes what happens is someone will say, hey, look, I want to tell my story, but I don't want a bunch of notoriety. I don't want a target on my back for Laura or her family or something. So it's possible that there's somebody with a story to tell. And the press that's been out there about the indictments has maybe somebody was interviewed by the county investigators,
right? Exactly,
and saw this press and said, "Hey, the thing that happened to me relates to this. I want to tell someone," and that's what they did. That's allegedly. Of course, somebody could just make up a story and be yanking our chain. So we'll have to see what kind of evidence comes out if these indictments go to trial.
I mean, Laura did email me pretending to be her ex-boyfriend, so I'm always aware that some of the messages I get, I'll get people who send me stuff, and it's it almost sounds like it's this definitely could be real, but I don't come out and talk about it because I'm always going to have that in the back of my mind now that I don't know who this person is, and so I'll usually just say I'd love to pick your brain about that, or I'm happy to hear more about that, but I'm probably not going to talk about it. But
yeah,
this did not come from me. So this came from All the Best Research and Timelines, which we're going to show on the screen here in a minute. So they were the ones to actually get and kind of vet this source, as well as Megan Fox. So I am just super paranoid now because of what happened. I remember, and this is, a year ago now. I was at a girlfriend's house. Yeah, I was at my ex-girlfriend's house in North Carolina. And I'd been staying there for a while, and it's kind of weird because at the time, I remember what happened. David Gingras put out that blog where he basically aired out Laura's suicidal thoughts. And I just came on and was like, listen, this is bullshit. This is the same threat we've seen over and over again. The FBI sent police to her home for making the same kind of vague threat. I don't believe it. And that's when she emailed me as tag, trying to convince me that she really was, in fact, suicidal, to try to make me feel bad about that. And it's strange because I gave a very empathetic response to that, and I was like, well, maybe I need to just check myself. Maybe I really need to I need to think over this. Maybe I'm being a little too gung ho, even though I see this all the time with work. And I remember feeling pretty bad about it. I was like, yeah, no, I'll definitely. I want you to verify your identity like you offered, but I will not tell anyone about this, except that something sketchy happened. Tag did not then verify his identity as he offered.
Right.
And then I come to find out Megan Fox had also received communication from Tag, and she was like, Tag is Laura. No. Yeah. And so then we, found out because she attached her phone number to that Google account. So yeah.
Yeah, that's the same thing that happened with Chase J. Jones. They refused to FaceTime with Dave's lawyer. So that's a pretty good indicator. And, the other thing is people that make up crazy stories and want some notoriety, it's usually like they do a TikTok or something, right? And they're front and center. Whereas if we've got witnesses to investigations that want to tell their story, but they don't want to be public about it, that's maybe a little bit more credible, potentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
Well, of course, it was really strange because at the time, I'm sure it was designed to like pull on the heartstrings a little bit and get me to feel guilty about what I was saying and what I was seeing. And because I was feeling pretty confident, I was like, this is the same thing over and over again. I've seen this kind of behavior so much for years and years working in my field. So I felt very confident about that. And it was just designed to make me feel bad. And it's really odd because in retrospect, I think that while she didn't mean to, Laura almost did me kind of a favor because that whole thing and the way that I was feeling at that time and just kind of what was going through my mind exposed like some interesting issues in the relationship that I was in. And so I didn't, obviously want to talk about this at the time, but we broke up shortly after I got back from the trial. And I was just kind of like, huh, interesting. Like, cause it's like, I remember I didn't want to tell her about it. I was like, I feel like she's going to judge me. I feel like this is what's going to happen. I was like, wow, is this really the right person, to be with or whatever? And then, of course, and I think I might've told you about how that all went down later on, and I don't want to get into it now, but it's just interesting how like, even, things that seem terrible at the time, they all kind of have a purpose, even if it's not the intended one, So I do feel like that kind of interestingly corrected a path for me that,
This case has been going on so long and has taken so many twists and turns. Looking back, I know somebody in Discord today mentioned they had seen some older videos of Dave's on their YouTube feed. And it's interesting what you can learn or have a different perspective when looking back at something.
Yeah.
Or, the light bulb can come on when it comes to Chase G. Jones or Tag or something and see, oh, this is really, maybe I was feeling bad, but now I've realized there's manipulation happening here. And that is enlightening,
Yeah. I mean, you go through something like that, it makes you a lot better at spotting it from far away the next time. So unfortunately, for a lot of us, it is that kind of emotional manipulation, abuse and stuff like that. It is a pattern that many people are unconsciously kind of drawn to. And so I feel like that also, I should also say that just because you don't necessarily always see the signs means that you're a bad person or anything like that. When we go through traumas, emotional traumas and stuff like that, it changes our brain. It changes the way that we view things, the way we think about things. And our brain goes to the shortcut of like worst possible scenario for a lot of people. So it's kind of interesting. Just like these little things, these little manipulations, just for like random people who are covering this, case, even like with Dave and the being threatened to be sued and the Chase J. Jones stuff and all that. Like, it's just very strange. So I can't imagine being Greg or Mike or Clayton and going through this on a large scale constantly every day for as long as she's been in their lives. It's honestly terrible. So, but yeah. All right. We'll go over this stuff. And then I wanted to look at that article from, what is it? SFist or something that got a lot of things wrong, and I wanted to go over that for a specific reason. But let's do the HCG stuff first. So like I said, this is from All the Best Research and Timelines. If you don't follow them on Twitter, you should. Obviously, I get a lot of my information from Justice for Clayton on X. I get a lot of my information from these guys are on X. I'm trying to think of who else. Obviously Dave, but mostly from Dave's podcast. I don't know like if Dave even tweets that much, but
not too often.
If this is your preferred method of information, this is a good account to follow. Okay. So this afternoon they posted, or this morning, I guess, breaking news. We have received information that Laura Owens allegedly ordered injectable HCG and had it delivered to her home via courier and allegedly requested that there be absolutely no information on the box.
Wow.
The source says detectives told them someone may have spoofed the clinic's phone number to impersonate the business. We require in-person visits to the prescribed HCG, the source said. We have no records of ever communicating with her under any name or known alias. Detectives told the clinic that text messages were found on Laura's phone showing orders placed through the clinic's number. The messages also reference the courier service used for delivery. We don't use couriers, the source explained. We only ship directly or offer in-office pickup. The clinic believes their number was likely spoofed since it's publicly listed and associated with HCG services. They cooperated fully and remain uninvolved in the alleged transactions. So to kind of break that down a little bit, I know Brad, when we were talking to Brad earlier in chat, he was saying it was like a gray market service that kind of gets HCG to people under the radar. I don't really understand as far as like the spoofing the phone number and stuff like that. I'm kind of thinking like, why even do that? Unless it was to put up a front so that if they found it later, it would look like it came from a legitimate source. That's
exactly. You know, my sort of idea with that is maybe there's somebody that wants to sell illegal or gray market things to people. And so they're either found on the internet or they're soliciting through email spam and this type of stuff.
Right.
If we say, okay, Laura approaches this contact or this business to buy the HCG, they may start to communicate over text or through emails that have phone numbers in them. The person who's doing the gray market selling may be using a legitimate clinic's number in order to obfuscate who they really are. Right.
Yeah.
And that's the scenario that it sounds like to me that they're explaining. They're basically saying this source seems to be somebody who works at this clinic.
Right.
And they're saying the investigators came here to interview us or talk to us because they wanted to know if she got HCG from our clinic, but she didn't. But they had evidence that she got HCG from someone, and we don't know who, but somebody who happened to be associated with our phone number, you know. So who knows? Maybe it's even, you know, it could be an ex-employee of this clinic who stole some things and sold them on the side. When I was a brand new employee in tech, we had a lab, and there was a guy stealing things from the lab and selling them at pawn shops. And the cops eventually caught the guy. And it was funny because he shared a desk with our intern, and our intern came to the lab and said, "Do cops come in and handcuff people and take them away every day?" And we were like, "What what happened here? What's going on?" But anyway, I mean, you never know, right? Like these things can happen.
Oh yeah, man. So I guess thought process was also like somebody takes their, you know, wife or whoever into the clinic, says they are like looking for services regarding fertility to a place where you would maybe get HCG prescribed. Maybe they get that medication and then they sell it instead, and they're not really looking for that. Yeah, so that was my thought process, I guess.
Oh yeah, you know, there's people that actually get legit prescriptions, or their relatives do, and then maybe they don't need it and they have extra and they want to sell it.
Yeah,
like under the table.
I remember because when I was in school, a lot younger, like 19, 20, I would have people like come up and ask me like for Adderall, and it's like, well, I have Adderall because I am wired in a way that requires me to use Adderall. So like, I'm not like selling street drugs. So I don't know why you guys are asking me for this. And they're like, no, people do it all the time. They'll just go get a prescription for Adderall and they'll just sell the pills. And I'm like, what? Well, no, I need the pills. So maybe, you know, don't approach me for this next time. But yeah, it was really strange. So I guess that happens. It's a lot more common. And like, if I lived quite a bit of a sheltered life up until college when this stuff started coming to my attention. Obviously, like I was 19, 20, I'd never been asked for part of my prescription before. And so at the time, now knowing everything I know, I'm just kind of like, that's just silly, Lauren, just say no. But at the time I was so taken aback. I was like, how dare you? You know, this is how dare you? You're committing a crime right now. Like right? It's really like, and now I'm just kind of like, yeah, that's pretty standard. That's a pretty small ask. Like I could have just given him a pill or something, but like, I don't know. I thought it was such a huge deal.
No, dude, that reminds me of when I was in the dorms for my first year of college, and the fraternities were going around, you know, trying to recruit people or do the rush or whatever they do. I don't know how that works. But these guys came to our door and they were like, you know, you could pledge to our fraternity. We have beer. And I'm like, this is the freshman dorm, and you're offering beer to kids who are like 18. That's a
Oh
crime.
my God.
And they were like, see ya. And I was like,
Man,
so I
we're
kind of,
both like fucking hall monitors.
yeah, I was a big narc, I guess. I don't know.
Right. Yeah. No, I was like that for a little bit, and then well, look at me now, you know. So it's kind of like I at one point I was like, underage drinking. That's that. At first I was like, that's a huge deal. I can't do that. I'll get caught and I'll go to jail for the rest of my life, because I was very sheltered through high school. All I did was swim and like go to the movies. That was it. And so like I never saw all this stuff happening, and so alcohol terrified me. Drugs terrified me. So when people asked me for Adderall, I was like freaking out. And when people were like, "You want to go to this party?" I was like freaking out. Like, it's so weird. And this has nothing to do with what we're talking about. I don't know how we got here, but the like beginning stages of my young adult life there was a lot coming to, like, I was learning a lot. Let's put it
We
that
had a lot of
way.
work to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Very interesting though, because now it's like, of course, people sell prescriptions and stuff like that. Like, it would be easy. It would be easy if you have a previous diagnosis of ADHD and you're not currently using medication to, get a prescription and sell those pills for a lot more than you bought them for. It would be very easy. So now it's like a no-brainer. Like, oh, of course people are doing that. But back then, I really thought, I was like, wow, you're going to go to prison forever. You're going to die in prison. That's it. You're going to die in prison because you asked me for Adderall before a test. It's very strange. All right.
Wow.
I know, right? No,
Think of what you could get for 7 felony indictments then.
Everything felt like,
boy.
as a teenage girl, everything felt like the end of the world. So like if I were to get caught drinking underage, or if I were to
Yeah.
get caught giving someone an Adderall pill as like an 18, 19-year-old girl, I was like, my life is over. It's over. And that's just ridiculous. So yeah. Okay. So we don't have too much more information on this at the moment. Obviously, this is something that the detectives will have to look into. So the detectives already know about this, which is why they told the clinic that messages were on the phone. Let's see what else we had here.
I mean, apparently this is part of the already completed or still ongoing investigation.
Yeah, right.
So,
well, I mean, they can put more charges on her. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, that's true. They can replace the existing set of 7 indictments with a new set of indictments if they feel like doing that.
Oh, I don't know if you saw, I went to the grocery store today, and I had David on my mind when I went to the grocery store today.
It's Mother's Day.
Look at it from like a housewife standing in the grocery line, picking up a magazine and reading a tabloid magazine while she's waiting at the groceries. That's the people that are on JFC's side.
It's the weirdest thing, man. Like, I'm not a housewife, but I do frequent the grocery store. And this edition of the Inquirer says David Gingras is a little bitch.
Look at it from like housewives.
Yeah, I'm not a housewife either, but I went to the grocery store today, and what I learned was that David Gingras lost his motion to compel lunch. He lost his other motions. He lost his case. He lost his appeal. He lost his motion for reconsideration on that appeal.
I actually read that in a pamphlet at the deli. So
what a record!
Yeah, no, David, after the whole "I'm going to sue Lauren" thing for my stupid ass video that wasn't monetized for I can't even remember how much money he said he was going to sue me for.
Yeah.
After all that kind of settled down, he really left me alone. He would like give some digs every now and then. He was like, "Well, Lauren's not smart enough for this or that," and blah, blah. I was like, I'm literally watching you lose every single motion you're putting in this case. But go on and keep talking. So I just didn't engage with it for a while.
Lost and lost again. And I'm no sports ball expert, but I would think that sort of performance might get you benched. I don't know.
Yeah. He lost the appeal. He lost the appeal, and he lost the appeal reconsideration quickly with a swiftness.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and then he had the audacity to go on Reality Steve, debate Rachel Juarez, and when I say debate, I mean talk over her a lot of the time, and then call her batshit.
He lost his conversation with Rachel Juarez too. I should add that to the list.
Oh, and he was like
tracker is not getting better. It's not getting worse.
He was very like as for David, he was very complimentary of her. I felt like in the beginning when she first went over his stuff with Steve, and because she was very fair, and she was like fact based and not really.
Oh, before he talked to her.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
This is long before they talked, I guess, because I listened. Didn't they have a couple of podcasts before they actually did this debate? Yeah. So he was all like, "Oh, she's smart. I get it. She gets my arguments and stuff like that." And then now he's like, "Oh, she's batshit."
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, but if you think that woman is batshit, you should not have a law license. She's very well educated. She's smart. She's articulate. Like, what is your problem that you're thinking somebody's batshit? Like, somebody like that is batshit. You call me batshit, and that makes sense because I'm over here like dropping C-bombs and telling you to fuck off all the time. And I'm not really, to be honest, I'm not putting forth my best foot with this man or his client. I'm not trying to be articulate. I'm not trying to be smart. I'm just trying to tell you to fuck off at this point. I think you're not
batshit, Lauren. We're just edgy, as the Gen Alpha kids say. We're edgelords. We're just edgelords.
Are we edgelords?
Yeah, you and me. We're edgelords tonight.
That's all I ever wanted to be, Bruce.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. It's interesting that he took the most like, I don't know, like thoughtfully engaging person with like she's like a Yale and Stanford education, and he took that person and morphed her arguments into, oh well, she's just batshit crazy. And so that's when I knew, I was like, well, for sure, I know now that you have nothing of value to say. I will never be confused by you again, because now I know that you're very stupid, because you took somebody who is very respectable and smart and well-spoken, and you are somehow trying to convince me that that person is stupid. So now I know I never need to worry again about anything that he ever says, because everything he says is a lie. So.
Well, it just doesn't get him anywhere. I mean,
no.
We read through his, you read through his last blog, right?
Stop edging, Bruce. I did. Unfortunately, I did read through the last blog. Yeah, I did read through it.
Yeah,
it was,
it blew my mind. He had whole paragraphs where he's just, at the end of the paragraph, it's just like, well, I don't know. Maybe they have evidence. We'll see. And I'm like, why are you writing this thing? Like, you're not telling me anything new that I didn't already know. It's like he's explaining that 1 + 1 = 2. It's just useless. Right. He's either losing or he's useless. I just can't get around it. I mean, I want the guy to like do something useful, and he just hasn't done it yet.
I just want him to go away at this point. Like,
well, he should go away because his Arizona Supreme Court appeal isn't going to go anywhere. Yeah. And we're in a criminal trial situation now if she doesn't take a plea deal. And he's not a criminal defense attorney, as he keeps saying over and over again. Mm-hmm. So he should just go, mix up an old-fashioned, get off the internet and relax.
Yeah, we're going with vodka and cocaine in that house, I'm pretty sure. So, there's not really much you can do for the guy. Obviously, I feel like I really was more understanding than most in the beginning. I feel like I did try to say like, oh, well, he seems like he has some intelligence. It's like he's kind of funny sometimes. I feel like he's just trying to make his arguments in a way that doesn't obviously expose that his client's a liar. And I kept giving the benefit of the doubt over and over and over again. But then I kept watching him like attack Dave, attack other people. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this is so annoying. And then one day, finally, I remember he had started talking at me, and I had like blocked him at that point. I was like, I don't want anything to do with you because you're clearly a dick because of the way that he's talking to other people that I like. And so I remember he tweeted the fucking phone number. He's been like, I don't know why you blocked me, but here, call me. I was like, what? That's not exactly what the tweet said. It's like, Laura says I can talk to you. Just, call me or whatever. I'm not going to fucking call you. I don't want to communicate with you. And then he starts finding me in other people's
He's a litigant
YouTube.
In the case. He shouldn't be talking to anybody. Like,
well, no, he starts finding me then, and not on my channel because I blocked him from commenting on my channel, but he starts finding me in comments of other people's YouTube.
Oh, right. Yeah, I saw that.
And he starts trying to talk to me that way. And I was like, David, I've made it clear I don't want to talk to you respectfully. Please leave me alone. And luckily, he has at this point. So, yeah. It's just, he leaves me alone. It's kind of like I can't really complain about the things that he says about me too much because I say way worse things about him. And so like if I'm gonna dish it out, then I should be able to take it. But it doesn't feel great, right? Of course, but I just at the same time, it's like I did kind of instigate that a little bit. As far as the copyright and the lawsuit goes, no, I maintain that that's abusing your legal license and you have no business being an officer of the court if that's how you're going to use your power. So
yeah, his aggressive and bullying PR campaign is really just another dimension of manipulation, which we've already discussed in terms of the manipulation Laura was doing. And I think that with things like these fake personas, Tag and Chase J. Jones, and it's all multiple sides of the same coin or multiple sides of the same dice, whatever you want to call it. It's manipulation of the audience. It's of trying to manipulate you, trying to manipulate Dave. And of course, you guys won't stand for that sort of thing. So yeah.
It's so weird with everything that happened, not just with that, but just as an overarching theme is like, I'm so used to being mistreated and talked down to, and like people throw like slander at me all the time. People throw the most horrible things you could say to somebody all the time. But those are patients. Those are sick people. So I really thought, I'm going to be fine. Nothing can say anything to me that's going to like permeate my
rattle
kind of
you,
state of mind. So like, and then of course it started happening on this like such a personal level, and like the manipulation of sending me an email to try to convince me that I had just disparaged someone who was suicidal. Like it's crazy the lengths that people will go to. And I just never realized all the ways that somebody can kind of abuse people and distort things and trick people into feeling awful, because I thought, I've seen the worst of it. I've seen literally the worst things people can do to themselves and the worst things they can do to other people. When you work in the ER, it's messy, and I'm not going to go into that because I don't want to get graphic, but like it sticks with you. And so I'm like, surely nothing is going to get to me. And it did. So Froggy, thank you for the 150 super sticker. I appreciate you.
They say
Big
you
Johnson's
are
here.
amazing.
Hey, Big Johnson. How's it going? Also, just Ricardo. Hello, lovelies. This cunt strikes again. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate it. Isabel, thank you for the 5. I hope I said that right. You do not deserve to be attacked or targeted. You don't. No one does. Love you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I do. I try to keep myself in check to the point where I'm like, well, no one asked me to call him a dumb cunt. So maybe when he talks about me in a way that's not so nice, maybe I did earn that a little bit. So yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to keep myself in check, but at the same time, it's like, where did this even start? At some point, it gets to like, where did it start between me insulting him and him insulting me? I don't even know where it began. Or who
no, he started it 100% because he came out hard against YouTubers, against Dave Neal, against anybody covering this case, against Megan, right out of the gate. Everybody was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. He blocked Megan Fox after she tried to simply answer a question that he had asked, or some detail he had gotten wrong. I remember somebody from Reddit, I don't know if it was Sand or one of these Reddit people, were trying to explain to him, you just put a guy's name and address on public documents who didn't want their name and address out there.
Right.
And he's like, oh, Clayton's famous. His name and address are out there. And I was like, dude, you don't even know who she's talking about. She's talking about this other guy that's in the addendum of your document. And he was just a jerk to everybody straight off the bat. And it reminds me of this concept in philosophy called the paradox of tolerance, which is basically like somebody like a Laura or a Gingras will be intolerant, or they will be manipulative or abusive. And then if you push back, they'll say, oh, well, you're being intolerant. We're not supposed to be intolerant. And it's like, well, it's okay to be intolerant of intolerance. And that's kind of mentally, it's like a paradox. But that's what this reminds me of.
I mean, it's interesting because if I think about it, like if the roles were reversed between us, I would be telling you the exact same thing. But being on this side of it, it's very difficult to see clearly. And it's always been the case. Obviously not with this, but with just various relationships in my life and various things in my life, because of the way my brain is wired and stuff like that. It's very difficult to see it clearly. And I could see it for anybody else. I can't see it for me though. So sometimes I still get trapped in that. I'm stuck in that where I'm just kind of like, wow, who am I and what am I doing right now? Because I can't believe like I've inspired this kind of hatred or this kind of abuse or whatever. Like, what did I do to get it wrong? And the answer is nothing, but it takes me a long time to arrive at that conclusion. And the process of getting there is torturous. So, unfortunately, that's just the truth of it. Like, I love to say like, I don't care. But dude, it hurts. It's like it's a knife, like gutting me up from the stomach to the, you know what I mean? Like it's terrible. And, I mentioned to everybody 3 or 4 months ago, like I was drinking a lot to deal with other things that happened in my life and other kind of stuff, because I had that relationship. I think I mentioned this to everybody when I talked about my kind of struggles with alcoholism, that I had these relationships that were very emotionally abusive and distorted my thinking and kind of put me into a pattern of where I'm just like spiraling. And I felt like that was really like, it felt like something that I shouldn't care about. So I feel like I was judging myself a lot, and it definitely did contribute to like how much I was drinking and how much I was not doing what I needed to do for myself, and how much I was just kind of, like shutting myself off to taking care of myself. And it's crazy just like how much somebody who should be like a random, like respected, lawyer on the other side of the case, just defending his client to the best of his ability and not going any further than that, is like going out of his way to seed these crazy ass things in people's brains and scare them into Dave thinking he's going to like lose his home or whatever, or like when he's just got a new baby, or me thinking that this man is going to sue me when I'm already like thousands of dollars in debt, and I have no way to pay him. It's just it's so wild. Like I want it to be like that doesn't
goes
matter.
Beyond PR. Like as a lawyer, he shouldn't be doing PR anyway, number one. But if you are going to do PR, maybe do PR like Brian Friedman or someone who's actually qualified to do it. But he shouldn't be doing PR, number one. Number two, his PR is actually more like abuse. Like you're saying, it's more abusive. It's not productive PR. It's not educational. It's not illustrative. It's just combative. And
I do wonder,
it's dangerous.
I wonder how much of it is conscious and how much of it is just a reflex. How much of it is just, this has been effective in the past. This has like gotten to people in the past and it's got me what I wanted. So I'm going to behave like this in the future. I wonder how much of it is a like shortcut in his brain. And I wonder how much of it is calculated.
I think it's got to be a shortcut, because when he talks to Omar and Reality Steve, he's like one way on the phone. And then on the internet, he's this completely different way. Or when he writes emails or whatever, he says, oh, I can be an asshole or whatever.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's like he's got modes, and it's got to come from some, childhood upbringing, just the way things worked with him and his family and his friends, and how he went through life to develop this style that can potentially be conducive to litigating if you want to be one of these bulldog attorneys or whatever and pound your fist on the table, right?
Yeah. And I feel like that's only effective if you're correct. So it's not working.
Yeah, I mean, this is, when I was working in the tech industry, people would have debates, and there would be people who had strong personalities, of course. And I was a fan of this TV show, House. I don't know if you've ever seen
House.
that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But basically, House is an asshole. And
I was rooting for House, though.
House, here's the thing. It's TV, okay, guys?
Yeah, of course.
House is an asshole, but he gets away with it because he's always right. Like by the end of the episode, they figure out it's not lupus and it's really, Meniere's disease or something or whatever it is. And he's always right. So he never, sort of faces the consequences for being wrong. And I'm like, look, you can be an asshole if you're always right. But guess what? Outside of the TV show, in the real world, nobody's 100% right all the time, so it's ill-advised to model your life after House.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. I never really thought of it that way. I need to rewatch that show, dude. It's been a while. But I remember it from when I was growing up. I just thought he was funny.
Yeah. It's a very funny show. It's very formulaic, though. I remember I had the DVDs that I got for the holidays, and my DVD has like a timestamp. It shows the time of each episode as it goes through 40 minutes or whatever it is. And you can kind of pick out like, okay, here's where the patient has a problem. Here's the timestamp where they have the wrong diagnosis. Here's the timestamp where Wilson tells him something weird and he figures it out, and it's like every episode was like that after a while.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's interesting. When I was in college, I got connected with this Nike summit. And so I went out there and I met a lot of people. And one of them, when I was there my first year in Portland, so not too far from where you are now, I don't think, in Portland, I met this lady, her name's Stephanie, we're friends now. And she was a casting director back in LA when she lived there. And she actually cast Hugh Laurie as House. So I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I watched some interviews with him and I realized he has a British accent. It's like, that's so strange to me.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just can't see it now.
He's a British actor from way back in the day.
Yeah, I had no idea until long after that happened. I was like, wait a minute, what? What? And then I saw him in Veep, and he was pretty good there too.
Yeah.
So, anyways, let's talk about this article from. How do you say this? SFist? Is that how we're saying it?
I don't know. Apparently, the fisting is ongoing, and I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, so there was a lot wrong with this article. Some of it has been corrected. So I did pull up Megan's Twitter here so we could see the initial errors, like calling him Beckard, which is just, that's one way to say that you didn't even read the court documents before you, or anything about the case before you wrote this.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to bring this up for is because this is kind of like, I think we went over this a long time ago. It was like, eventually there's a really good chance that if she does get criminally charged, this is going to get a lot more attention. It's going to come to like local and national outlets. And honestly, they're not going to do a lot of great research because journalists who work for these kind of organizations and stuff like that, like I don't envy their workload. They have to research and write about a lot of things. And it's unfortunate because they get a lot of things wrong. And I've never been on this end of things where I'm like, no, these are the details. This is what happened. And it's so frustrating to read and see everything that they're getting wrong. And it's going to be happening more and more, unfortunately. So I just wanted to pull that up and point out some of the things that were going on here and see how this is going to go, because the way that journalism works when you write for like a bigger publication or for even like a local news station or something, your workload is, to my understanding, it's pretty big. Like if you want to work within regular hours, then it's pretty big and you have to do it kind of quickly and you have to get things out on certain deadlines. And so the goal isn't 100% extremely detailed accuracy. So that is my understanding from the journalists that I've talked to. None of them that wrote pieces on this, case that we're talking about, but just people that I know who work for various publications. Like I know someone who worked for HuffPost for a long time and some other people who worked at different local newspapers who have kind of told me the same thing. It's like they want to do everything they can, but a lot of them are caught up in like the deadlines and, well, my editor or whoever won't give me more time to do this and I have to get this out now. So there were times when they, weren't necessarily doing the work, like the best work that they felt they could do, but they were doing the best work they could do within those parameters. And I'm pretty harsh on journalists these days. So I do think that gave me a little bit of perspective because I'm kind of like seeing different journalistic practices, especially with like the New York Times and stuff like that. I became very disappointed in media and journalism because I always thought people were more tinfoil hat. And now I'm coming to realize that other people were just like right. And I was just not seeing it. So it's kind of a strange thing for me to consider both sides of that, because like I guess it comes down to like an individual basis who you are and the kind of work you're doing and how much it actually matters to you to get it right, because there are just way too many people out there who will write articles like this and just not give a fuck. So but then there are other people who like they really want to do better, they just can't because they have to keep their job, they need to get their paycheck, and they have to meet their deadlines to do that, or they can't provide for their families. So
yeah, I mean there are exceptions, but most people are doing the best they can with the information they have, and we have to give them grace from that perspective. That's why it's so amazing in this case that we have all these resources like searchable Reddit, timelines, Discord, wiki pages and websites with all the court documents that people can go search, and you can go back and check. I think half the conversation sometimes when there's not a lot of news going on is people just checking, hey, I have this memory about this thing. What was the real detail there? And they go check because we have these resources.
Yeah. Let's see. And there was that part about, I do like that they included the dating contract recap here. So that was nice. But unfortunately, that was one of the only parts of this article that got anything right. So, they went after our friend Dave, of course, Dave was the only person willing to put his neck on the line when this thing was high stakes, when it was like knew, and nobody was willing to cover it because there were no criminal charges, there was no judgment in family court, and so he stuck his neck out when other people wouldn't. And so when I see things like this, enter YouTube podcaster Dave Neal, a sort of low-rent Joe Rogan, who glommed onto this story like Captain Ahab chasing Moby Dick, but this was both lucrative and validating for him as he analyzed and showed that Owens has used fake ultrasounds, sonograms, pregnancy tests, and other falsified evidence. And that, like, right there, it's reducing Dave to, like, two sentences that, in my opinion and my experience with him, do not really describe him very well at all. That it takes away all the pain that he went through and all the stress of like having a very pregnant wife and eventually a new baby, and some guy saying that he's going to take your property away and sue you on behalf of this woman, and the fact that she, tried to get a restraining order against him and then dropped it at the 11th hour, and put him through that, when like that, all that stuff, it affects your life in various ways, especially if one day you ever have to go and get a job with a company or just like a regular not working independently. Those things like a restraining order could fuck you. Like, and Mike has spoken, I believe, with Megan about that, how it hurt him in his job prospects. So it's just not, it takes away from the actual experience and actually what happened. And so I don't respect these publications at all.
It's very dismissive, and it reads more like somebody who's trying to do a roast routine at an open mic night or whatever, rather than somebody trying to explain what actually happened. And by the way, nobody is allowed to roast Dave Neal without his permission except me. So get this shit off the page, guy, because only I have that right.
Yeah, fair enough. Isabel says it sounds angry. Yeah, it does sound angry. Which is weird. It's weird. It's random. I don't even heard of this publication before. Obviously, they don't do a whole lot of research before they publish things, so I'm definitely not going to start reading them. But it does sound very angry and judgy. So
it's also a little wrong. I mean, the Moby Dick allegory, we can argue about that, but I think that's an incorrect allegory from a literary perspective. Saying Dave's low rent, Joe Rogan. I think this guy's never seen Dave's mortgage bill. And then the third thing was, he said it was lucrative and validating. I mean, it was definitely validating to come out on the right side of this. Or, I mean, Dave has always said, like, if you show me evidence that Laura's right, I'll be on Laura's side. It just, that evidence never showed up. But the lucrative part is wrong, because Dave wakes up every day and he makes 2 podcasts, and he might make some other videos. And back in this time frame, he would wake up every day and make a couple videos. And if there wasn't news about this court case, he would make other videos. And the reality is, if he hadn't been sued and had to hire a lawyer, if he hadn't had to go to Arizona multiple times and pay airfare and all this, he would have just made videos about Love is Blind, Temptation Island, or whatever, and made more money.
I mean, people make bank doing that, right? Like, people make so much money just commenting on those TV shows and shit. Which is fine. That's fine if that was
this idea that this story or this case is super lucrative. I just don't buy it, because if your only goal in life is to make a lot of money, there's way better ways to do that.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not, honestly, if you already have a following and you like have on like multiple platforms, the way that Dave does, he could easily, if he wanted to, and if he didn't actually care about what he was talking about, he could pretty much, like you're saying, just like cover other random stuff, or he could like cover anything, or he could like make comments about the outfits at the Met Gala all day long for hours and hours, and maybe make more money. Or he could just like comment on various TV shows, or because I know.
Oh my God, we got to get Sabrina Carpenter some pants. Goddamn! I mean,
wait, that's what I said, dude. Because my friend Andy over at Popcorn Planet, he invited me on when they were doing their stream to talk about Met Gala outfits, and I'm like, you want me to comment on fashion? Like, what are you talking about, bro? Are you okay? Are you okay? Because he was having eye surgery the next day, and I'm wondering if they give him a little pre-med, because he's asking me to comment on fashion.
Yeah, those dilated eyes. Let's see that.
No,
Lady
he's
Gaga
right.
looks real blurry. What's going on?
Yeah, right.
Whoa.
No, we went through those outfits one by one, and I remember seeing the ones where they were like, I was like, this looks like a swimsuit, and I don't know how to approach like I'm very awkward, and I can't help but think about this from the perspective of what if I was just walking up and talking to this person like human to human, and
Yeah.
all I would be able to think about is like, you're wearing a swimsuit. So you're like, she's gorgeous, she's beautiful, and what she's wearing is probably very appealing to a lot of people. But for me personally, I'm just kind of like, I don't want to ogle your legs. So what's going to happen is I'm going to look at the ceiling the entire time we're talking. So I just don't,
That's funny.
I don't know. Like a lot of the outfits like that are things that like show a lot of skin and stuff like that. I'm just
Yeah.
like, damn, like I'm just so awkward. I don't want you to think I'm being creepy. So I'm going to
Yeah.
be the opposite of creepy, which is just like, I don't know, weird without
Awkward.
the creepy, which is
Yeah.
not great. Just awkward. Yeah, just awkward is pretty much how it goes. So
We-
I can't
yeah.
help but look at outfits that way. I'm just like, well, you're wearing this as a fashion statement, and the statement it's saying to me is, Lauren, don't look at my legs. They're right here, but don't look at them. So I just that's where I'm at.
Mhm.
That's where I'm at.
Oh my gosh. Whenever they had weird outfits on The Bachelor, we would bring Dave's wife, Tasha, in because she understands, like she knows the technical terms for all these little details in the outfit.
Yeah.
And she can tell you all about it.
Yeah, no, I don't understand this stuff at all. Like, so my commentary extends to like, oh, those shoes are really brown. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a fashion person. I have this shirt with a bunch of different funny slogans on it. It's the same shirt from the same company, and I wear that pretty much all week. So if I go out, I have a dress shirt and I have the same shirt in 3 different colors. Like I'm a weirdo. Like I'm not a fashion person, so it's just kind of interesting.
No, I usually have kind of a uniform. So it's usually like Carhartt jeans and a sweatshirt. And that's and I'm one of these people, like all my socks are the same. So like I never have to go match socks up.
All the same.
Yeah. So like all my socks are just the same model.
So do you just have a bunch of white gym socks? Is that it?
No, they're like, I used to do the gold toe.
Gold toe.
Because I saw they're just black socks with the gold toe. Because I saw them on Lost.
I've never seen Lost.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, when John Locke in Lost wakes up, he's wearing gold toe socks. But anyway, now I think I use Dickies now because I feel like their quality is better. Plus, their name is funny.
That tracks. Yeah. I guess I know where I'm getting my socks next time.
But the point is, whatever they are, I just do all the same. Oh, Big Johnson says gold toes are classy. Yeah, exactly. It looked good. But anyway.
Yeah. All right, Zach.
So you never have to pair them up, that's
Zach.
critical.
There it is. Thank you for the $2. Condolences to Miss Neidigh for having Lauren. That's actually what I wrote in my Mother's Day card. Thank you for the $2. Jenna Balvey, thank you for the 5. Pretty sure Dave made more and gained more subs covering Lively. So annoyingly, they spin him like that. He's a nice, hardworking guy.
I mean, you never know what you really never know when the YouTube algorithm is going to click for specific content or specific people at specific times. I mean, it's not really under our control. If it was under control, streamers they would just do whatever the algorithm dictates to get 1 million subscribers and be done with it. But you can't do that. It's up to the whims of the universe.
Yeah, definitely.
So you just have to Dave tries to be authentic and cover what he thinks is interesting and what he wants to talk about. And if that gives him a good audience, then he'll get his audience. He'd rather have his audience than an artificial audience, if that makes any sense.
Hito Izakura, our friend from Reddit, Hito, who was attacked by that subpoena from David Jinkers. Meanwhile, all my socks are Disney characters or cat socks that were gifted to me. Hey, did you gift them to yourself or did someone else gift them to you? Because I gift myself stuff all the time.
There you go.
But no, cat socks are fine. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. And as long as they're not actually socks for a cat, which you need to be more specific. Because I'm not judging you as long as they're for people.
Cat Lady has a good point. With all the resources that I mentioned earlier, like Reddit and the timelines and Discord and web pages, there's no excuse for just getting things wrong in these news articles. Other than time crunch. I mean, or a boss that's on your breathing down your neck or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot. Unfortunately, there's a lot more people on the other side of the equation who are just like lazy. Like, I can get away with this. I'll get lots of clicks for this. It's
yeah, maybe.
fine. So I don't know. I feel like I'm always so conflicted about things because I'm always trying to see both angles or whatever angles, however many angles there are. And like, it just makes things more confusing because there's always attached to every angle is, in my opinion, a good person without fail, except for the case of Laura Owens, where there is no good person on the other side of it. So I don't know, when it comes to journalists and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, in general, people aren't 100% good or 100% evil. It's not like everybody's, Gryffindor and everybody's a Death Eater on the other side or something. From the Harry Potter, right? Good and evil.
Oh, no,
right?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
People do good things. People do bad things. People make mistakes. People get it wrong. And we just have to, I don't know, support the people who get it right. And I don't know what the hell it's called. The S-Fist. The Super Fist. I feel like the SF is San Francisco, right? But like, or is it Sacramento? Is it the Fist? I don't understand. I thought it was San Francisco, but then I'm like, what's the San Francisco IST? That's weird.
That's what I thought too.
But is it the Sacramento Fist? And the fist of what? The fisting is ongoing? I don't.
Hito says, all gifts meant for humans. Apparently, I'm a difficult person to shop for. Okay, well, I know what I'm getting you if I ever need
socks.
Yeah, cat socks, apparently. Or gold toes or whatever you
Moose
call them.
Socks. Yeah.
Moose socks. So are your animals, do you still have your animals and stuff over there?
I have a dog and 3 cats.
What about the rooster and the chickens?
The chickens are doing okay.
Okay, so they're still there. That's good.
The roosters have moved on, unfortunately.
What do you mean they moved on?
They've moved on.
Did they go somewhere else or are they dead?
They've shuffled off this mortal coil. Old age.
That is depressing. Okay, so I guess that's...
You asked.
My life is pretty much over now.
It's all right. They had a good life while they were here.
It sounds like you took care of them real well, yeah.
They went to the farm. The chickens are still laying eggs like there's no tomorrow. So expensive eggs, forget that.
Right,
the raccoons
so you'll be able to eat before you leave.
I got raccoons in the front yard now on my trail.
I saw your raccoon cam and I was like, what is this?
I think there were 3 of them in one video. I'm like, there's a whole family out here. Crazy idea. I gotta get out of here. It's crazy.
One day I'm just gonna show up on your raccoon cam and it'll just be like me around your trash can.
That'd be like the Blair Witch Project or something. Yeah. This black and white night footage. Oh gosh.
All right. Well, RIP roosters. So let's see.
They had a good time while they were here, but
Yeah. All right. I better unless there was something else we were supposed to cover, I better call it a night. Because it's Sunday night and I have to work tomorrow morning. So
what are the takeaways, Lauren? What do we want to...
Oh, about the HCG stuff, I guess when we eventually came on, we were discussing that new source when they were saying that she bought the HCG from a essentially gray market service. It makes sense. It's kind of interesting, though, because, Dr. Medchill, I think it was Dr. Medchill who had said, basically admitted that, yes, certain medications can cause a rise or a fluctuation, at least in HCG. And I know that she, based on what they said at trial, was on Lamictal or lamotrigine, whatever you want to call it, which it can be for epilepsy, but also for bipolar disorder. So it's questionable, in my opinion, what that's actually for, because we know that she has some problems. But, so it's kind of interesting to know that actually did, or allegedly actually did come from an outside source, an injection versus, just like naturally from her medication, because if it was a natural thing from her medication, it actually would make sense to me why this was happening all these years, because you could consistently get a positive HCG test from that if it was an actual side effect or result of the medication versus taking injections. I doubt that she's like taking injections consistently because she's going across states now, and that's like, well, obviously she didn't cover her tracks very well. So it's kind of interesting to see that came from an outside source.
I think the thing with me was kind of like I think she said originally she took a negative pregnancy test and then the next day another one and it was positive, right? And then obviously once this whole December December 28th, I'm not now pregnant thing happened. Months later, right, when Gingras shows up in March or April, he says, oh, I made her take a pregnancy test and it was negative. But this is way after. So if this HCG level was being caused by prescription medication, she would have to sort of figure that out and not take it or take it depending upon what she wanted the results to be. Whereas if she had obtained some of this gray market HCG and was using it to manipulate Greg and Clayton and these guys, that seems more controllable to me than a prescription medication.
But it also, just to alter an alternative kind of thought there, if it were that she was timing her medications, taking them or not taking them, it would make sense if those medications were for a bipolar disorder versus a seizure disorder, because I question whether or not she actually has a seizure disorder, because if she was not taking those medications and she was only taking them at the points that she needed them to get the test results that she wanted, it would line up with some of her behaviors. But given that the levels were, well, no, because I guess they weren't actually so high at one point. I was going to say, given that the levels were so high at one point, but then I remember she just photoshopped it, so never mind.
Yeah.
Sometimes I forget that she did that.
Yeah, because I mean, the P sticks are just a line, and you have to sort of, is it darker? Is it lighter? But
yeah,
the
but then she
blood
goes over
test
whatever
was
health and
104, 102, or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. We've never seen clinical evidence of an epilepsy diagnosis, I don't think, and we've never seen clinical evidence of a autism spectrum disorder diagnosis.
Actually, when I was at the grocery store,
these are so suspicious to me. Like, we've never seen clinical evidence of these diagnoses.
When I was at the grocery store and I was doing that bit earlier, I found this and I was like, oh, this is how Laura got diagnosed with autism. Hang on. There was a magazine and it's called Very Well, and it said autism. Like, you can see that?
What? Yeah.
A New Understanding. I was like, oh, Laura probably just picked up this magazine and was like, I have autism.
Does it have a survey in it or something?
I don't know. I didn't go through it. I just saw that because I was just picking up
there's like online, you can answer questions online and it'll try and tell you something.
That's pretty much how she's gotten any diagnosis in her life, from what we can tell, because she miscarried her fake babies and texted a miscarriage hotline, which is like, what the fuck would a miscarriage hotline do other than advise you to go to the emergency room immediately or face potential sepsis and death? So this doesn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. There's a lot going on there with the online stuff. She totally does do the online stuff, but obviously she doesn't follow the instructions, which is go to the hospital. And if you're telling me that you were, because at one point she was saying that she was too, like, her crippling depression or something was too much to go to the doctor, or she was like too anxious or whatever it was. It was like, you were traveling to fucking California to do your horse jumping competitions that same weekend. So go fuck yourself.
I mean, if somebody was literally like, hey, I got pregnant by the Bachelor, but I just wanted to have a feral pregnancy in the woods, so I didn't seek any medical care. And, I realized that means I have no evidence for my paternity court case. My bad. Let me pay the bill. I fucked up. Like, a rational person would just be like, yeah, but obviously that's not what's happening here. It's just manipulation and fraud, apparently, according to these indictments.
Hito says, and the injections take 10 to 14 days to clear, so that could explain consistently testing positive across multiple days. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So I didn't think about that.
Good point.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's interesting because it's like we're finally going to get answers to these questions. I feel like we've been speculating for so long, and so many different things have been presented. There's like, this could definitely be true, but now it's weird to think that they'll actually be bringing this forward in a way that's going to definitively answer all these questions that people have had for so long. So.
Yeah. I mean, if they've been able to do the cell bright extraction on all these devices she has, there's just going to be a litany of evidence.
Yeah.
That we don't even, like, we can't even, hypothesize or guess at right now. It's going to be amazing, I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I'll be in Australia in a few weeks, so I'll be in Australia while the arraignment's happening, but I'm gonna watch it anyways online. I'm like,
Yeah, I
setting my
mean,
alarm for
I think
that.
everybody's
Yeah.
gonna overload their internet on that one. We'll see.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'll be very different time wise, but I'll have to set my clock so that I can wake up for
Yeah.
that because
And I mean, I
sometimes
understand
I
people are like, oh, this arraignment's boring because the person just always pleads not guilty and then they listen to the charges and then they leave or whatever. But I think it'll be interesting just to, get that confirmation, that evidence that she's going
Mhm.
to plead not guilty, get that confirmation about what her bail bond is and all that jazz.
Mhm.
So I think the arraignment will be interesting, even if it's sort of
Yeah.
perfunctory.
Well, for me, it's just kind of satisfying in the sense that I how do I put this? It's not like an attachment, but like I care about people really easily. So obviously, you guys all probably know how I got really invested in this in the first place. Was Clayton did me a solid, like a really nice thing for me. Sort of in the beginning stages of when this case was happening, in the first few months or so, the first 4 or 5 months at least. And so he did me a solid. And so obviously he was someone that I felt like, oh, this is a good person just from what I knew about him and what he had said to me and what he did for me. And I was like, this is a great person that I don't want to see hurt by someone who's obviously lying. And so I became very invested in that. And so once I kind of decide, hey, this is a good person, this is somebody that I care about a lot, or not a lot, but like this is someone that I care about just generally. Then that's kind of like where I'm going to stay. So for me, it's just kind of like finally seeing that go like fall into place where it's like this guy is going to be, totally vindicated, even though the family court judgment, kind of made it clear that she was never really pregnant. But at the same time, it's like she needs to go to jail because she's not only hurt Clayton, but also Greg and Mike, who I got a chance to talk to. And now, obviously, I would love to see things work out for them to kind of get a little bit of justice for what they've been through. So
Yeah, I mean, in her little press release, she says, oh, I'm a first-time offender, or she says, I've never been charged with a crime.
mhm.
And it's like, no, you've never been caught and charged with a crime before. But there's a first time for everybody.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's not like, some people, they make a mistake. You speed and you get a speeding ticket and then you try to rein it in.
That's the only thing on my record, dude, is speeding.
She's been doing this for like 10 plus years. This is like 10 plus years of this nonsense.
Yeah.
And so to me, that goes way beyond like first time offender. So
Mhm. You know what I wonder? I know that in the family court case is like the people who had also been affected, who were like victims number 0 or whatever, and whoever came before that, they didn't have to really do anything that they didn't want to do. They weren't forced to agree to testify or anything like that. I'm wondering if that will come into play here or if they will be kind of dragged into it. And I honestly, I hope not. I think if you go through something like that and you're finally free of it, I don't think you should have to necessarily.
Yeah.
But
I think the interesting thing when going through the list of indictments is that they're all very Clayton case centric, right?
Yeah.
The order of protection or the paternity case. And so, you've got forensic evidence or you've got testimony in court, testimony in an affidavit. It's all based on things that you can prove without having to bring some of these older witnesses in potentially.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know if they need Clayton, like he'll be there, guaranteed.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
So to me, when I read through the charges that they've levied, they're all based on the Clayton cases. And so to me, it's like, okay, this makes sense because they don't have to tie themselves to bringing in a bunch of other witnesses or a huge witness list.
Yeah. Let's see. Redondo Beach, thank you for the 5. She is just dumb not to go to Mexico and get that stuff. No one would know. I mean, so I've read. Well, it's true. Mexico is right there. They're in Arizona. So I guess she could have done that, but
I mean, maybe that's where the courier came from. I don't.
Oh, fuck.
Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I'm just, when they say a courier, I'm just imagining some some 20-year-old kid on his bicycle, like driving through the Arizona
Hey, lady,
heat.
here's some injections.
Like, here's your refrigerated bag. Enjoy. Like,
oh my God.
That's the mental model I have for that.
Oh, well, see, I'm thinking of like a message in a bottle or something, but I guess there's no
Yeah.
real bodies of water in the middle of Arizona except for
No.
some ponds.
I'm thinking more cinematically, you know, there's some 20-year-old kid, you know, he's got, clean shaven. He's got the bicycle with the big tires, and he's got the backpack messenger bag with the refrigerated, insulated case. And he goes and he pulls up and he's sweating. And there's the horse mailbox or whatever. And he's like, here you go.
Dude, that sounds expensive. Maybe they just literally sent a stork.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe just send a stork. It's attached to it. All right. I better take off because it's past 11 p.m. here. So, All right. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon. Yeah. All right.